Hi, everybody. My name is Yokantali Jackson, aka Connie. Everybody calls me Connie. And I am the chairperson of the Camden City Arts and Historical Commission. I'm also president and CEO of Red Door Music here in Camden City. And I have the pleasure of introducing to all of you today one of our great artists, Christopher Michael Stevens, right here from Camden. Chris, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Listen, we'd like to start out by just talking a little bit about how you grew up, how you started playing music. I know you play trumpet, but just tell us how you actually got started from a child.
Okay. Well, I'm from a very musical household. My dad plays the bass. My mom is an incredible vocalist. And I have an older brother who's also a musician. And growing up, I played a couple instruments, but the earliest picture I have is like of me with a bugle, and I don't remember ever touching it. Um, I think I played it. I might have tried it. Maybe I didn't like it at first. I don't know what the deal was. But when I was six, I got my first drum set. And so I started to play the drums. And then my older brother, Eric, decided he liked the drums too. So, you know, he started playing the drums. And I saw him playing the trumpet. And I asked him uh, if I could try it. And he said no. But his advice to me was to try it out when I got to school, to tell them that that's what I wanted to play. Because at our school they would basically, music was a part of the program, you know, growing up. So you had music and you could pick an instrument. So I picked the trumpet and I've stuck with it ever since. Um, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And I think one of the things that you said just now is critical, that music is not a part of our program or our curriculum that is necessary. You know, the first thing a lot of times that they will cut now in schools is the music program. And so it just shows the difference in what it has done in so many of our young people's lives and growing up. So that's awesome. Well, tell us also about some of the groups that you played with, but more importantly, the group that you started, Vertical Current, and there are other groups, but kind of tell us about Vertical Current and other bands that you may have started or that you have right now.
Well, I started Vertical Current in 2009. And of course, the first person I had to put in the band was my dad. He had to play bass with me. And so we've been doing that for 11 years now. Our original drummer, Brandon Mullen, is still in the drum seat. Um, and we've gone through a couple keyboard players. Our first guy was a guy named Brett Keinart from York, PA. And then eventually another guy from Philly named Ali Prawl played with the band for about 5 years, I guess. And then in the last few years, my buddy Phil Collier has taken over that position as the keyboard player. But we've had a couple guitarists come through. A guy named Jordan Damiani was the main guitarist for a long time. Also Simon Martinez later on. But it's funny now because our very first guitarist, Ali suggested that we get a guitar player, and I was like, all right, well, who you want to get? He said, oh, you should talk to Dai, this guy in town, Dai Miyazaki, right? And I was like, oh, okay, let me reach out to Di. So I reached out to Di. He said, yeah, I'll do it. Came through, did a few rehearsals, and then he got the call to do Lauren Hill, and he was gone. And it's like, okay. So, but now he's playing with us again, which is really cool. So his first gig after 11 years was just a few months ago with us. And I just thought that that was kind of cool. But we got a percussionist. His name is Walt Nash, and a few people have come through the band. Dominic Thomas, Robin Williams. We had some great vocalists, Chartel Feinlater, Shalia Moser. My wife has sung with the band sometimes. My mother has sung with the bands. There's a whole bunch of people throughout the city. So the band has opened for Robert Glasper, Derek Hodge, Kneebody. We've backed Kelly Price, Chrisette Michelle, Frank McComb, Eric Roberson, Jeff Morrell, and a few other people. And right now we have five. I think it's five. It's four full albums and then a Christmas single. So five projects ish out right now, and in the process of preparing some new material to do another record. So yeah, so that's that band. And then just a few years ago, I started the Chris Stevens Quartet because there were some opportunities to perform a little more traditional stuff with a smaller band. Um, primarily, so this is what happened. They opened a new venue in Philly called South, and they weren't really interested in the heavy jazz fusion thing that I was doing with Vertical Current. So they wanted to know if I could do something, a little more traditional. And my first thought was, well, I did that for my senior recital at Temple. So
Mm.
let me grab those guys. And I was going to do it, but it just seemed like the timing wasn't right, and it was kind of rushed. So I just didn't push the issue and just didn't worry about it. But some years later, um, Homer Jackson reached out to me about doing something with the Philly Jazz Project. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it now. And it was a few months away. So I decided, let me write some music for this event, for this setting. And I created like a few tunes that would eventually go on our first record, Actual Intelligence. And so we've played together pretty much on and off since then. I think it's been 4 or 5 years now. I can't really tell anymore.
Right.
But yeah, so those are my two groups. And then aside from that, my wife and I have a production company called Science of Life Music. And so I do a lot of horn arrangement and some production and film scoring under that title.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what's going on with that
That's
stuff
great.
right now.
That's great. So tell us about the project. The future is bright.
The
I know
future
that's
is bright.
on your website.
Yeah, so that is the latest release from Vertical Current. We
Mhm.
released that in 2018, I think.
Okay.
Um, was it 2018? I don't even know. But
Mhm.
we started working on it about 3 years prior.
Mhm.
Um, and we recorded most of it all in a day.
Wow.
We went in the studio the day before and rehearsed, and then the next day we cut, I think it was 10 songs at the time. And
Nice.
then I added one song after the fact. And of course, we went in and cleaned up some stuff and added some
Mhm.
extra pieces. We were able to get Eric Roberson to be a feature on one of our songs. The song that we have a music video for is called Open. Um, and the reason why it's called The Future is Bright is just, well, first off, all of my music is inspired by Jesus, my faith in God, and so even though it's instrumental, it's all coming from that place.
Mhm.
And the theme this time just kind of came out of that moment. We finished it and it felt great, and I felt really optimistic. I had this peace, and it just was like, man, some great things are up ahead. The future is really bright
Right.
for us,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, the future is bright. Okay. Like this light on the side of me. The future is
Right.
very bright.
Right.
And so we just went with that title. Previous titles were, The Bright Side of Midnight,
Mhm. Remember that?
talking about, how at midnight you're at this pivotal point where uh, the night is ending and a new day is beginning, and it's like, even though it's still dark out, it's
Mhm.
still a new day, and sometimes we are at this point in our lives where, things are changing and it doesn't seem like it's happening fast enough for us, and it might seem like it's still dark out, and you're trying to hold on to your faith, you're trying to keep believing God, and it's like, well, I know what you said, but it's still dark out. It's all right that it's dark out, because the dawn is coming. I mean? It's just that midnight hour, those wee hours in the morning, it's still a new day. I mean? That change is still on the way. You just gotta
Mhm.
be patient and wait it out, but
Right.
darkness doesn't mean, you know, the end or bad. Like that connotation just is wrong,
Right.
darkness just has a place. It can't rule. Darkness doesn't rule. God placed
Mhm.
the lights in the sky to rule the sun for the day, the moon for the night. There's rule over the darkness. There's rule. You can't let the darkness get out of control. So that's where that came from.
I
And then the
like
first record, R, was just about, I am, but we are. So it was about the unity and about the band coming together.
that. Mhm.
So
No,
yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. So now you're also playing with John Legend.
yeah.
Tell me about that. I mean, you also
Well,
you were in La La Land. La La Land was I think they got an Oscar. It was nominated or nominated for an Oscar for that, or and your wife was also
yeah.
in that movie. I mean, so how is that?
Oh man, it's really incredible. A dream come true for sure because I have grown up loving films. Actually, when I was going to decide about college, I was between music and film, and I wanted to originally go to school at NYU because I thought that I could do a dual major, film and music. I was like, New York, why not? But then they told me that I couldn't do that. Different colleges within the university, so I wouldn't be able to do a dual major that way. So I decided, to focus on music. And actually, that's kind of what pushed me into film scoring because I was like, okay, this will still be a way that I can bridge the two. Um, and so working on La La Land was absolutely wonderful. Being able to just see everything get put together, all the cameras and all the different jobs that people do, and meeting the cast, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, and all the different people that were involved. It was really great. And that was something that actually came from working with John. His tour manager is the one that asked me. Where were we? We were in like Lebanon or somewhere. um, and I come out of the dressing room and he's like, "Hey, you want to be in a movie?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "All right, well, send me a picture and a bio real quick." Emailed it to him like right then from my phone,
Mm.
and next thing I knew, I had the part. and I happened to inquire as to whether or not, they were still looking for the female roles to be filled because I just happened to know that they had been looking, and they were. So I encouraged my wife to audition. So we made a audition tape, sent it in. Next thing you know, she was in it, and so working on that in and of itself was amazing. But working on it with her, being able to just do that together, having those memories, nothing like it.
That's right.
The John gig has been really great. I've been blessed to be able to see so much of the world doing that gig and just work with a lot of great people, a lot of great people. So it's
How
been a
many
blessing.
countries would you say you've been to?
How many countries?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Too many to count.
Yeah, it's been a lot at this point. I will say that I've been on 5 of the 7 continents.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really been a blessing. I've always wanted to travel. I have a special place in my heart for foreign languages. So
Ah,
um everywhere we go, I would always try to pick up, a couple words.
okay. So tell us a couple words. I'm going to ask you.
Sure. So if you want to say thank you in Korean, it's
Mhm.
감사합니다.
Okay.
Um I can tell you some stuff in Japanese, but it's kind of cheating because I started studying Japanese when I was 16. But my
I know
favorite
one. I think
phrase,
ni hao.
mhm,
Ni
my,
hao is one, right?
my favorite phrase in Japanese is "Toire wa doko desu ka?" Which is "Where's the bathroom?"
Ah.
It just sounds so cool. It
That's a
sounds like I
good
know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the answers are supposed to sound like, but I know how to ask the question. You just point from there, we'll be good.
one.
Um, but yeah, I've really enjoyed that part of it as well. Yeah, it's been a really great experience.
That's awesome. So you're married,
Yeah.
and how long have you been married, Chris?
Whew, we got married in May of 2005. So
Wow.
15 years married, be
Okay.
16 in a little while.
All right. Great. Great. So now you're a good-looking guy. You
Oh,
know,
thank you.
how do you keep the women away from you when you're on tour and you're out there traveling? I mean, I know they're coming after you. So what do you do?
They're really not. I don't really have that issue. Especially I would say in John's camp, because we pretty much, it's really chill,
Okay.
honestly.
Okay.
In some of the other camps, we have a little more interaction with the audience.
Yeah.
But I mean, people see the ring and they seem to respect that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
plus, it's enough single guys in the other bands. They get all the attention, and I'm cool with it. This might be a different conversation if I played the saxophone, because the sax players always get all the love ever since I can remember. People love sax players. Trumpet players, it's like he's got that lip. It's like, oh, what?
That's great. That's great. So let me just ask you this as we close out. What would you say to some young people, even some older people who are out there, and they really want to? make it, or I say make it. They may want to do some of the things that you've done or that you're doing, to tour, to play with some other artists, and just to grow as it relates to their career. What would you tell them?
Uh, I would say pray. That's always first. Prepare, you know, because we can ask God for a thing, but what you don't want is for him to say yes and you get it and waste it or destroy it. Story of the prodigal son. Give me my inheritance. And then what do you do? Waste it. Now you got to spend the rest of your life broke. I mean, thankfully he was able to go back to the father and still be cared for, but we don't know if he ever got another inheritance. We don't know if he ever was able to go off on his own again and now I can enjoy my life because I've got wealth again and I know what to do with it. Like, we don't know what his second chance looked like, but I do know that he wasted it when he got it, and I don't ever want to do that. I don't want to go into my answered prayer and not be prepared to receive it. So I would say pray, because God definitely hears your prayers. But then prepare in faith, and so when he answers and opens those doors, you can walk through knowing that you're ready, and sometimes we may not feel ready. So, don't get caught up in that, you know what I mean? But it still doesn't hurt to prepare, you know. So that would be my primary advice.
Awesome, awesome. And for all of you out there, Chris also co-produced my project.
Yeah,
Things will
yeah.
get better. And that was just an awesome project, and
I
people
still
loved
want to cry when them kids come on at the end. Oh,
I
I'm
know.
like, man,
I
that just melts your
I
heart.
know. I know. We have to do another project with some youth, these young people here in Camden. So,
Hmm.
I would love to do something like that with them and just create some music.
Yeah,
But
let's do it.
Chris, thank you so much
Thank you.
for talking with me today. And I'm sure that there's young people out there who will hear this and will be encouraged to be able to do their own music, and to know that, as you say, you know, you pray, you continue to practice, you continue to do what it is that God has put in your heart, and use your gift, and your gift will make room for you.
Hmm.
You know.
And
So,
if I might add one more thing,
yes.
make sure you are good to people. Relationships is key in life, period. But also in any business, in any industry, you're gonna have to deal with people. You're not gonna just be able to be a lone wolf. Oh, I'm great at my thing, and so I'm successful. Like, I don't think that's anybody's story. I don't think you'll find a single successful person who did it on their own. Everybody had some help. They had a friend somewhere, somehow, and you just don't want to alienate people. And don't just do it for the selfish reason of I might need you someday. Like, just be good to people, period. But also keep in the back of your mind that, that's how things get done. We do it together. It's about cooperation and not competition.
Mhm, mhm. Awesome. And I agree with that. And thank you for sharing that, because that is so true. Yeah. So, again, Chris, thank you. Always good talking to you, and wishing you the best. And listen, as we go down this journey, there's so many things that God has in store, and I'm just excited to see all the other things that He has in store for you, for your wife, and all those that are connected to and with you. So, to the Camden City Arts and Historical Commission, here again, interview with Christopher Michael Stevens, and hope you enjoyed this interview. All right, take care.
All right, thank
Bye.
you again.